Legends Arceus. Without a doubt, this game had the worst reveal trailer for Game Freak games, if not for all of gaming history. The world is empty, draw ranges are easy to spot, the animations are worse than a ROM hack, and the quantity of gameplay details is lacking. And yet, this Pokemon game is the one I'm most hyped for in years. Look, we all know the issues with the reveal. I'm showing them right now. Most Kickstarter game trailers have better quality than this. So why am I hyped? Let's analyze this trailer and surmise this game's potential. First off, let's ignore the visuals of this trailer. This game is clearly in a pre-alpha state, barely functional enough to release a trailer. We cannot assume the model limit for this game is 4, that the grass won't improve in shading, that there won't be an aiming reticle for throwing Pokeballs, etc. Look at this image from the reveal trailer for Sword and Shield, for an example. Not only did trees and other minor models get tweaked in the E3 trailer, but even this yellow patch became pretty flowers. I will admit, there was less to improve visually in Sword and Shield than for Legends Arceus. But that does not mean we will get this Chimchar upon release. Seriously, I had a nightmare of Stephen King's It dancing, but it was that Chimchar. Yeesh. While the starters aren't hyped from a gameplay aspect, they were well chosen. In Japanese, Typhlosion's name uses the characters, Google, help me out here.
Bakufu.
This, however, is also a pun on the word shogunate.
Bakufu.
Whoa, those are close.
Bakufu bakufu. Bakufu bakufu. Bakufu bakufu.
Okay, sorry. A shogunate is a military dictatorship headed by a shogun. Hence, Typhlosion is our shogun, Beast of Fire. Oshawott evolves into Samurott. No further explanation needed. Finally, Rowlet is simultaneously the coolest reference, and also the most telling. In Japan, traditional archery is known as Kyudo, or Kyudo. However, the history of Decidueye goes back even farther. In the manga, released in June of 2017, Moon used her trusty bow that she brought with her from her home region of Sinnoh, which is designed after Decidueye. Then, a chapter later, she received Rowlet from Professor Kukui as her 5th Pokemon. Not only does Decidueye tie into Japanese lore, it also connects to Legend Arceus' implied history, that Decidueye influenced Sinnoh's archery. Would it be a surprise if this choice by creators Hidenori Kusaka and Satoshi Yamamoto was deliberate? That they knew about Legends Arceus even back then and teased that detail 5 years before the game's release? It's not improbable for a game to have more than a 5-year development schedule, so it's equally possible this link was intended. While the protagonists for Legends Arceus look like they are imported from the regular Diamond and Pearl series, there is one detail that caught several people's attention. It's this logo on their sleeve. Here's a translation that comes from Twitter. According to this, not only does this logo look like the Team Galactic logo, it actually translates to Galactic. Why is this a thing? I could see several possibilities for this. The one that is most significant for the story is that this actually takes place after Pokemon's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. In those games, we meet Rainbow Rocket Cyrus, a man who was taken by Rainbow Rocket Giovanni before he could create his perfect world. After meeting the protagonist and his Rotodex, he seems to have some change of heart before going back to create his perfect world. Is it possible that he decided to actually include some spirit in this world, which is the reason why there are humans still here? It's also possible that this logo is actually the name or a reference to our professor. Professor Cyrus, maybe? Or maybe an ancient Cyrus? Or it could just simply be a little nod saying, hey, here's something really ancient and this is what Cyrus based his logo on. One change from prior games is the absence of an isolated battle arena. Before, the overworld would freeze and you would enter a battle with the target Pokemon alone. But here, with Gallade's janky glory, we are fighting without such an arena, or even a barrier surrounding you. What struck my interest wasn't what we see, but what we don't see. There is no barrier surrounding you, and why is it that in every wild battle, there's only one wild Pokemon loaded in? What is the chance that other wild Pokemon could attack you? If you failed to catch the Shinx in the trailer, could they both turn on you? Or suppose you were fighting a Gible and a Garchomp walked up and noticed you. Could Garchomp strike partway through a battle? I doubt Game Freak would decide to make such a change to the standard isolated battle arena without also considering what they could do without it. Already in Pokemon X and Y, we had Horde battles, and in Sun and Moon, the SOS mechanic where a Pokemon could call for help. The odds that a battle in the overworld would freeze all other enemies on screen for the duration of the battle feels low. A more likely change that will come from having overworld battles is the fact that you can be involved as well. Did you notice the dodge rolling earlier in the trailer? Why would we need to dodge roll in the first place? If we don't send out our Pokemon, we can be ambushed and attacked by Pokemon like Garchomp. Another possibility is that rather than simply blacking out when our whole party is defeated, we have to recover our Pokemon in their Pokeballs, run all the way back to our town, and get them healed maybe with a professor. While this is not guaranteed, it's likely that battles will be more interesting with this mechanic in Legends Arceus. After all, the website promises that this game will, quote, infuse new action and RPG elements. And this one would definitely be a new element. Speaking of the website, we gain additional information about the game here. First off, quote, you will need to catch, survey, and research wild Pokemon to create and complete this region's first Pokédex. Here we find our first misconception about the game. Some people believe that the goal in our Pokemon journeys in prior games is to become champion. This was almost never the case. Ever since the beginning, when Professor Oak gave us our first starter Pokemon back in Pokemon Red and either Blue or Green, he does so for our protection. When he properly sends us off from Pallet Town after giving him his parcel, he tells us our goal is to fulfill his own dream, to fill the Pokédex. He doesn't even mention the gym challenge and becoming champion until after we have already stolen that dream from his grandson, and Blue was the one who first told us about it after our journey had begun. Throughout the many generations of Pokemon games, many people and professors have given us our starter and wished us luck on our journey. Of them all, only 2 mentioned the gym challenge or champion at that time. They are Professor Elm and Champion Leon himself. In fact, Professor Sycamore in Pokemon X and Y reminded us that filling our Pokédex can be an adequate goal to become the best trainer. Professor Juniper tells us that the most important goal on our journey is to befriend new people and Pokemon and grow as a person. After all, the English version of the Japanese motto is gotta catch 'em all, 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 Pokemon. Further down into the website, we run into this quote. This story unfolds in a long-gone era, before ideas such as being a Pokemon trainer or having a Pokemon League even existed. Here we find the second and third misconceptions about this game. The first is the definition of the idea of being a Pokemon trainer. Clearly, we are attempting to complete the Pokédex, the premise of nearly every Pokemon journey. So what does this quote mean? My understanding is that there's no official job or occupation for being a Pokemon trainer. Unless your character is crafting his own Pokeballs from scratch, someone needs to supply them to him, which means other NPCs should have access to them as well, such as a rival or the professor that gives us our Pokemon. But if they, or we, aren't capturing Pokemon in order to train them against other Pokeball-carrying humans, Why do we need Pokeballs in the first place? The obvious answer? Self-defense. They don't train against each other, but to defend from the wilds. But we could take that a step further. This self-defense actually correlates to what we see in the trailer. Our hometown is referred to as our base, is located within a defensive canyon, and has a large gate and wooden wall defending it from a gorge. On the left side of the gate, there is an alarm bell. Also, please note that these doors are reinforced with metal, similar to castle doors. If these are more than decorative, we can assume our village will be attacked by wild Pokemon, and we'll have to throw down our own Pokemon from either guard tower to fight off the invaders. Assuming that the belief we are the only trainer is correct either way, we will likely spend our days wandering Sinnoh, then retreat back home to help defend our town from nightly raids from either wild Pokemon or Pokeball-carrying marauders. In other words, if this theory is true, half the gameplay could be Pokemon Tower Defense. The second misconception is the absence of a Pokemon League. However, we technically had such a game already! In Pokemon Sun and Moon, there was no official league until after we beat the trainers Professor Kukui invited and became champion ourselves. In addition, instead of gyms, Sun and Moon had island trials, where we had to go through a wild location and battle a totem or boss Pokemon. If the story of Legends Arceus will similarly make up for the absence of gyms or gym precursors, we can expect boss Pokemon to show up. Maybe one will attack our village, explaining the need for that protective gate. Or the currently unnamed professor will send us to track down and capture a boss species that might even be a legendary, such as Heatran, the Lake Guardians, or the Winged Mirages. But there is another option for how the story will be handled without an official league. What does the term Pokemon League mean? According to Bulbapedia, it is a group that organizes Pokemon competitions for registered trainers. Well, that answers part of its absence. We don't have a registered league if we don't have career trainers. But what would an unofficial league look like? Scattered towns with the strongest trainer, similar to the Alola region and its kahunas. All this time, people have been assuming that our village is the only one in all of Sinnoh, based on a bare-bones teaser that only showed one proper location near said village, and a quote saying that immigrants formed our village. Why can't other settlements be scattered through Sinnoh, either on a shoreline for seaside trading or inland along a river? If there are other settlements, and they could use Pokemon to defend themselves, why can't we expect them to have a defensive troop with a strong leader? This troop would be the precursor to the modern Pokemon gyms. Personally, I'm leaning more towards Legends Arceus having boss Pokemon than other towns with a defender serving as precursor gyms. But either way, the story mode will still be engaging. But I haven't gotten to what hyped me up for this game the most in the first place. The sequels. Some people online have noticed that the stories of Pokemon games are becoming stale. Even when they shake it up a little, the Pokemon game's plot is for a rookie kid to take down a criminal organization, solve an issue with the legendary, and prove he is the strongest trainer while completing his Pokedex. While I don't agree with these critics, I have wanted something besides a spin-off to get me invested in the story mode. Let's Go seemed promising at first, but the story, compared to Yellow, didn't have enough new material to get me excited for a sequel in another region. The Legends series would not have this issue at all. According to the website, Legends takes place when the myths of Sinnoh were being written, including the myth about Arceus being a creator deity. The Pokemon Presents directly said that Arceus graces the title and story, and implies that it will be involved with us and even be catchable. That premise of being before or during the time of myth is what excites me the most for potential sequels. Let me tell you some possible games to show you why. Set in the Unova of old, Legends Meloetta. 2,500 years ago, there existed a single dragon that protected the kingdom. But the brothers fought over whether truth or ideals should be pursued. In their schism, the great dragon split into three. Reshiram and Zekrom allied with their respective prince, while varying myths suggest that the discarded husk of what remained fell into the giant chasm and became Kyurem. Should a game be set there, we will get to see the legendary dragon in its complete form, and learn why the princes were fighting in the first place. Perhaps the despair from that event is what caused Meloetta to lose its melody and its shoes. Again, let's take a look at another possible game for Unova. Legends Keldeo. During a time of civil war, an intense forest fire broke out. The swords of justice appeared and saved the Pokemon trapped within. All except for Keldeo, who they took under their wing and trained in their ways. They went on to end the war and disappeared into myth. Another countrywide war, perhaps started by the same princes that split the original dragon or their descendants. I doubt it though, since we've already have an official release of Keldeo in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Turning our attention to Kalos, we have Legends Diancie. We already know about the ancient war. Now, live in it. Choose a side, fight alongside Xerneas or Yveltal, and see if you can find AZ's Floette after he fires his dreaded weapon. Perhaps AZ's weapon was made from Diancie's diamonds, which in the anime could become Megastones. If AZ's weapon fractured while at full power, could the many lives it took to charge have spilled into those loose stones and become the Megastones we use in present time? Let's now turn to Hoenn, Legends Jirachi. Throughout the land, Primal, Kyogre, and Groudon will occasionally emerge, twisting the landscape according to its will. They cannot be caught, they cannot be fought. Your goal is to locate and capture the Wish Pokemon Jirachi, and use a wish to extract their primal energy into the red orb and blue orb, ending their rampage and saving Hoenn and all people and Pokemon within. Finally, if we want another game that shows an original Pokemon, Legends Celebi. An ancient feud between Ho-Oh and Lugia was sparked. The loose attack struck the tower, burning the Pokemon that become Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. Yes, these specific sequels are currently pipe dreams, but if Legends Arceus improves their known gameplay by even half of what I surmised, and manages to sell well, who knows how many of these can be released. That's why I'm optimistic for Legends as a series. This fresh take on the Pokemon formula has the potential for greatness, and for even better sequels than Let's Go Johto or Sinnoh could provide. If you watched this video all the way through and even half of what I theorized is something you like or hope to see, please consider sharing my musings and deductions across social media. If you disagree or think I missed a detail, feel free to respectfully discuss it in the comments. Maybe we can figure out which of my musings are more likely or more interesting. I truly want this game's reception to become good enough for a sequel. So I'll sign off for now, hoping my efforts have improved its sales.